My friend, I run a big company.
Yes.
It's $1 million company, $1 billion. So we are worth close to about 150 billion Kenya shillings. And given the strategic nature of the business, it's it's imperative that we keep the country wet,
Mm.
and we have varied stakeholders.
Yeah.
My background, I worked a lot in private sector, and for instance, the longest I've worked was East Africa Breweries, where I was there for over 10 years. And probably at that point, I felt I needed to cross over to public sector, and the motivation then was to serve the country. I felt I needed to just have a feel of how public sector life is. So for me, it was a mix of wanting to, serve the country as well as have a different set of experience from what I was used to in private sector. And as a CEO, they say it get lonely. I will not say it get lonely. I'll say my style is very different. I have an open approach,
Mm.
open door policy
Yes.
in terms of communication.
Yeah.
I relate from the cleaner, the watchman, all the way to the GMs
Mm.
the same way. So I can have interactions with you irrespective of the cadre.
Yeah.
Because my philosophy is I really value what everybody brings on board, irrespective of the position or the cadre that you play in the company. So for me, that's the most important part. So I try every day to unleash the potential
Mm.
in each and every single employee
Yes.
or person I meet.
Yeah.
First and foremost, my background is I've done CPS, so I'm a qualified accountant, yes, but my first degree was in economics. So I did the Bachelor of Arts Economics, University of Nairobi. My master's was in strategy, and with the exposure of working in FMCG, I've worked in UNGA, I've worked, as I said, extensively with EABL. I'll say the aspect of the commercial aspects of looking at the business. So the blend of being an accountant, being an economist, and being a strategy in terms of MBA gives me the right recipe of a CEO.
Yeah.
So let's say people say accountant could be boring people,
Yeah.
but I'll say for me, I've diversified. So I look at it from maybe an economic lens, I look at it from a strategy into long term, as well as a financial lens.
Yeah.
And that really helps a lot because then, and we'll be sharing in terms of the
Yes.
business,
Yeah.
if I just share just one metric. When I took over as a CEO last year in January, as a CEO of Kenya Pipeline, the profit before tax number, which had been delivered, as you know, government financial year starts in July, ends in June. The year, which is 2021 2022, I
Yeah.
wasn't there. The profit before tax was at 6.1 billion. The year where I was 50% of the time, because I went in January, that means I was there for the 6 months. We grew that figure to 7.6 billion by over 20% growth in terms of efficiencies, optimization of the facilities. That was phenomenal. The year that I just ended, which is 23-24, that ended in June of this year, about 1.5 months ago, we are reporting even stronger performance, 10.1 billion. So we've crossed over the double digit barrier. And this financial year, for your information, I'm shooting for 12, 13B. So I've grown the business from 6 and double it to 12.
Okay.
That is significant.
Yes.
And therefore, I use my skills to drive the business
Yeah.
and rally the team along.
Okay.
And I think that the key asset, as I told you, is really about the people skills. I think I'm fortunate to be able to relate with my colleagues as colleagues,
Mm.
to look at my colleagues in terms of the value they bring on board. I used to look at someone like this class as half full and not half empty. That's the lens I use.
Okay.
And that's really helped me in life in terms of how do we generate positive vibe and positive energy through and through.
Okay.
As I mentioned, I'm a fitness guy.
Mm.
I like sporting. I like to run it,
Yeah.
I like to play golf. I play golf nowadays. I don't get time, and I do it over the weekend. I have a weakness of spending money on my fitness clothes or just golf stuff. So sports,
Yeah.
they're not expensive, but I don't like wearing a t-shirt more than just use it one day, you wash it, you get another one because of 3 times a week means I don't
It's
need to have maybe like 10 t-shirts. So basically, running for me, as I mentioned, I do it 3 times a week now, and I'm preparing for a major marathon, which is coming up in less than 2 months, and this will be my first ever international event. I've registered for Chicago Marathon, as well as this is my first 42-kilometer race. I've done 21, I've done 25. The best I've done is 30. And as I mentioned, when I admitted this to my friends early in the year, people are saying, Joe, come on, you can do it. But what's more important is you go and run. When you finish running, so what? Hence, we started the idea of
running for
I want to do it
impact.
for impact.
Yeah.
And as I was sharing with you, for some of us who grew up in the village, I wore my first shoe when I was going to Form 1. My entire primary school life, we used to go to school barefooted. And from my home to my primary school, it's about between 3.5 to 5 kilometers every morning with the morning dew. We'll come back home for lunch, we'll go back, and we'll come back in the evening. And therefore, when I look back, there are many other kids in our villages today who needs support. Some could be in form of school fees. They're very, very gifted kids, but they need that exposure. I think my exposure for me coming to the city
Mm.
was when I came to the University of Nairobi, which if I didn't get the opportunity, probably I'll be a village boy. I'll
Mm.
probably be an old man now in the village
Yeah.
and maybe having grandchildren. But fortunately, at least with court masses, I was able to make it to the University of Nairobi and then sort of excel in my career to work with the private sector, now public sector. And out of that, then the reason I'll be going for this run is to be able to impact, to impact life and leave a legacy. When we talk about running, as I mentioned, I do it 3 times a week. It requires a lot of discipline because the day I'm running, my alarm goes off at 4 a.m. Between 4 and 4:15. I'll leave those at 4:30. The attention I'm late, 4:35. Most of the people will be sleeping at that time. I'll do my 15, 20 kilometers. I'll go back home, 4:37, and I still make it to the office by 8 o'clock. So what does it take? For me, about three things. Discipline. There are days you feel like you need another 1 hour to sleep. But because of the ambition, because of the goal you set for yourself, I just keep on telling myself, no, wake up. You got to go, Joe. You got to go. Number two, perseverance. And the last one is endurance. There are many people you meet who will give you stories of they started running, they did it for 1 week, 2 weeks, and they
Yes.
and they stop. So it requires a lot of endurance, a lot of perseverance. There are days you feel like quitting, but because of the purpose, is what has kept me focused. And of course, because of the hard work. It's not easy, especially if you are going to be running on a Saturday and you've come out of office on a Friday at 5 o'clock when most of your friends are going to the club to meet. And so for me, the discipline comes in the sense of I'll still get time to socialize,
Yeah.
but I know I need to be home by this hour
Yes.
so that I get adequate sleep. Because one of the most important things which you must do again as a runner is to rest the body. So I use Sunday to be able to have adequate sleep, and then we do a mid morning lunch, mid morning charge. Because the other days, as I said, especially the days I'm running, it's starting off at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
The other days I started at about 6. It's mainly through the interactions and through friends. So especially growing up and working in EABL, for instance, and coming into Kenya Pipeline, at the level of a CEO, if you want to catch up with your peer, a few times I'll call one or two of them and they'll tell me they're in the golf course. So one day I decided to, because I was fortunate to join Current Country Club when I was still working at East Africa Breweries. At the time I joined, I didn't even know that I just signed up because it's a family club. And the few times I'll meet one or two CEOs, they'll tell me we are from around the golf. And that's when one day I just decided to join them for a walk as they're hitting the ball. And I got excited. I said, this is probably something I can attempt. I enrolled lessons, and today I'll tell you I'm one of the competitive golfers. My handicap index is 9.2 and aiming lower
Yeah.
if I take the time. I have 3 children.
Yeah.
I have a boy, Tyler, who is 16 years. I have a girl who is 14, and another boy, last born, is Trevor, who is 9 years. The two boys have picked up golf. Tyler plays off golf. Trevor is starting. The girl, she's not into golf, but she likes other sports. So I'd say, yeah, they'll pick up in terms of sports,
Yeah.
especially golf.
Yes.
They don't like running. I think they find running too a lot of hard work.
Yes.
I think it's a different orientation altogether because our kids of today, they are growing up in a town setup. They are growing up in a technology age. When you are growing up, there are no phones. Nowadays, even my 9-year-old son has a phone. Everybody in the household, and I'm sure even yours, from the maid to everybody has their phone. So we are growing up in an environment where times have really changed, and therefore the it requires different context altogether. When we were growing up, there are no things like you not be warned about social media sites that they are good and bad because there were none. Nowadays, I spend time talking to the young people about the importance of using their phones, yeah, using their phones responsibly, um, educating them about the basic values of life, the respect, especially the old people. And I keep telling my sons and my daughter, everybody is older than you, or everybody. We are growing up in a gated community, and everybody who is older than you deserves that respect in terms of if they ask for something, make sure you are able to go to them and listen to them. So it's a very challenging times, I know, for most parents, modern parents, because the information, they have a lot of information as opposed compared to the village people. Even when I go home, when I go to my village today in Kericho, Kabianga, and I meet the young people, even going to school, they are no longer, for lack of a better term, they're no longer having it difficult compared to our time. Because again, Most of them again they have phones. Most of them now, at least they have shoes going to school, unlike our days.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of paradigm shift. So for me, I dedicate time. I dedicate time to be with the kids and the family, mainly on Sunday after church. That's our time. We do church, we do afternoon lunch, or we go back home. We're able to bond with them. There are days I deliberately shop them to school because I want to catch up with them. There are days, even if I get home say at 8 p.m., I still catch up with each of them how their day was. So I'm able to connect with them every day. But more importantly, I use the weekend time mainly for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll define as strict, but I'm a loving father.
Yeah.
Yes, in the sense of I'll tell them the do's and the don'ts, and I try to correct them where they go wrong. Unlike in our days, and I don't know where you guys grew up. When we grew up, when we were in school, we were beaten by teachers. Nowadays, it's different. You can't beat a kid anymore,
Yeah.
but you're able to correct them by just telling them what they need to do. And unfortunately, if you get kids, and I realize, especially when they're young, they look at what you say and what you do. And most of the time, they'll go after your actions. So it's also important that we are the role model and we lead by example in whatever we do. I guess the big one is the sense of responsibility. Because when you become a father, then you realize all of a sudden you have other people you're accountable for. And like when you're a bachelor, you can decide to do things on your own. You wake up and you decide this Saturday I'm not going anywhere. And but nowadays we are driven by other things. At times they even ask us, Daddy, can you fit into our plan this weekend? We are doing this. And because you want to spend time with them, you sort of find yourself fitting into their plan or they fit into yours. Yeah. So what changes more responsibility was added on me as a father. What changes the leadership? You now realize that you're a leader. Even being a father is being a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, of your home. And being a father also, you're a father to the community. And now I'm a father to the employees of Kenya Pipeline. They see me, most of them will say, you're our father and our mother. You have the solution
Yes.
to our issues. And I'll say to a large extent, yes, we're able to help them.
Okay.
Um, responsibility and caring.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a number of people I bounce of ideas to. So I'll say I don't have one person. I have more than one, and I'll share. I like sharing in the pain or the things that we go through. So I'll bounce up other CEOs. And this is mainly when I'm playing golf. So I'll deliberately look for a game with somebody I want to spend 4 hours discussing an issue. So I'll say other CEOs have been a big influence on my life, and other people who've gone through the same kind of experience we're going through. Because as they say, nobody has a monopoly of knowledge, right?
Yes.
And we're in a world where we have to keep on learning. We have to keep on getting better at it. That's the things we do today. We should be able to look back and say, yes, when I was here, I left a lasting impact. I'll say I'll be insecure if I feel, especially now in the home context, when my kids don't listen to me. So if you lose that control as a father, or you lose that respect as a father, so what you need is to be able to command the respect and be in control. So the moment you say something and people do the opposite or they ignore you, then that I'll say you've lost it. You need to course correct.
Yeah.
I'll say my dad passed from when I was very young, so I didn't get a chance really to interact with a fatherly figure. And we grew up in a polygamous setup. and we grew up in an environment where most of our parents didn't go to school, but they did their best to be where they are. And we grew up in an environment where even the teachers were very strict, where training a child was still seen as discipline. So, in terms of the change, it would be more of being in the context, being empathic, being in the same shoes as a child, and asking yourself, what can I do differently? And that's exactly what we are doing today. Simple life. I think growing up in the village is just simple. You just wake up. Uh, when it rains, you go and play in the sun, in the rain, and then basically you spend time with the village. They basically live. I think their life is not as complicated as Nairobi life, because in Nairobi you have to, at our level, you need to have a car. You probably need to have a roof over yourself. But in the village, those things don't matter. You don't have to drive to move from one house to another. So what I miss is just the simplicity of life. Yes, I do. I do. My mom is there, and my other siblings. So I do at least every 2 3 months I go.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
The kids we try to,
yeah.
but the minimum probably twice a year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially now as they grow older, most of them they have their own friends, and they'll tell you, no, we can't go because we have other plans, which you have to accommodate them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see they see it as a source of inspiration. They see it as one of their own who has made it to their CEO. And for me, I say they're happy. They're able to connect. That you can actually go to school barefooted. You can be in that Matobe Primary School.
Yeah.
You can be taught by that teacher from the village, and you see the exam to be a top CEO.
When you grow up in certain kinds of environments, you you tend to want to heal that inner child. A phrase I recently had. Like say if you grew up with those shoes, now you want to buy all the once you make it, you want to buy all the shoes that you never got as a young person. How are you taking care of that inner child that grew up in lack?
Are you taking care of the inner child?
Your inner child, the inner you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, for me, I don't get fussy with really these things like how many pairs of shoes one needs to have. I don't. It doesn't bother me. For me, so long as you are smartly dressed and to be able to do your work. So I don't look back to saying regret. Maybe I shouldn't compensate by buying 10 pairs of shoes. I'm not a believer in those things. I'd rather save that money and help that child or that village so that they capitalize their family and the community. I think for me is how do I how do I spend my me time? That was the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my me time for me is running. That's when I'm able to get my clear focus on the things I want to do. I get clarity of mind. I also do watch golf a lot. I also get time to catch up with what's happening in the world. The US elections, is it going to be a lady or Trump? And I'm just relaxing. So that's how I spend my me time.
Yeah.
Yes. Boring part. I'm not sure whether there's any, but I guess demanding for resource.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably at times I want to push for results and I really push high,
Yeah.
irrespective of what time it is of the night. So you'll find me sending you a message even at 1 a.m. saying you owe me this report and you're supposed to give me.
Yeah.
So at times I find not everybody can take that level of pressure in terms of demanding for accountability and results. And this is mainly probably because of my private sector experience, where everything's about results. Delivery, delivery, delivery. And that's why probably we are successful in the pipeline because of we are running a public sector company, but with a private sector mindset
Yeah.
of delivery.
Yeah.
I define my work. Yes. So I set up what I do. I'm a very good planner, and I'm able then to write what are the things I need to accomplish in the course of the week. But as you know, running a public entity, a public sector organization, there are so many variables that are beyond me. Um, I might have planned to have a meeting, say on Monday, my exco meeting with my team, and I get a phone call on Sunday that I need to be with the minister for a function. So that changes the plan.
Yeah.
And we're not complaining. It's just the environment is different. The environment is different in the sense that you have so many stakeholders that you are dealing with. Yeah, and therefore one of the most challenging tasks as a CEO of a public sector organization is being able to balance the stakeholders because there are many,
Yes.
including you, the media people.
Mention.
Yeah. So I think the planning aspect is on the work related.
Yes.
I am a spontaneous person, especially when it comes to purchase. So I'll go to the psychological mind. I go to a place,
Yeah.
a place at a country on work related assignment. I go to a mall. I don't plan to buy something,
Yeah.
but if it's something I feel I really want,
Yes.
I'll go to my way.
Like what?
Um, Especially for me, something sports like an eye wash.
Yeah. How many have you bought so far?
I watch. This is my second.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my second.
Okay.
I think I'm very proud of the achievements that we've been able to accomplish for your son and the position I am in a pipeline. I'll tell you today, the employees of the company will look back and I'll say they're so eager to come to work
Yeah.
because of the environment we've created, the open environment, the open communication, the trust, and the belief that we want to get the potential of each and everyone, unleash their potential. So I think for me, I'm very proud to be able to generate leaders, to be able to empower other people. And for me, the epitome will be to leave a lasting legacy in this world, to live a purposeful life. And for me, my purpose is to empower others and to unleash the potential in each and every person. And more importantly, make a difference in this world. We all have our weaknesses, we all have our strong points. And as I say, I look at the class as half full as opposed to half empty. So for me, I try more to leverage on the positive side of the person than the negative side. Because we live in an imperfect world in the first place. So we all on a journey of learning. And we want to be able to create an impact so that the people who come after us will be able to say, these guys tried. Because things will be different. Look at the building today. Well, this building we are sitting on, I'll tell you in 10 years' time, the design will be different. So it's a continuous improvement.
Okay.
Do I have any? My superpower probably will be being able to, when I'm switching, say, from running to golf. Yeah, that's the time I feel.
Okay.
Yes. So one of them this year was 42
Marathon?
kilometers,
Yeah.
a marathon. I also want to climb Mount Kenya. That's one of them. And I want to play golf in one of the prestigious golf courses in the world.
Yeah. Have you climbed before the mountain?
No, I've only done I've done Gong, I've done Longonot,
Yeah.
and I like to do Mount Kenya
Yeah.
and hopefully Kilimanjaro.
Why?
Yeah, I want to accomplish. I just want to feel
Yes.
like, as I said, I'm a sporty person, so I like to experience things I've never done before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never have imagined that I'll one day wake up with my busy schedule as a CEO
Yeah.
and go for 42 kilometers
Mm.
run. It's not a mean achievement. It's more of achieving it because I really want to set up something and try and go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this year it was running a marathon,
Yeah.
and I'm sure when we meet next, I'll be telling you the experience of running a marathon and what impactful it will have created. When is it enough? I think the key thing would be what are the things that you really want to set for yourself and the impact you want to create. So for me, the big one is of course family. Yeah, where I want everybody to see me as a successful family man, especially my children, to be able to say we have an awesome dad. The second one will be around the things that I've set out, will be running that marathon. And more importantly, as I said, it's not about running, it's not about climbing the mountain. It's about what are the lessons, life lessons that you learn and you carry along. And what is the impact that I want to create.
Okay.
Yes. I think for me is leaving a positive impact to every person I meet. Or rather, let me simplify, making someone a better person I found. I want people to look back and say, if it wasn't for your son, I'll not be where I am. A great man that lived
A great man
and
that
left
lives
a lasting legacy for
and last.
generations to come.
Yes.
Personally, I believe we're in this world to make it a better place than we were found and being able to impact society in a better way. So, beginning with your family, the community, the country, and the world. So, being able to play my role and make Kenya, in the position I'm in, a better country than it is today. Because we all have our different contribution in society, and I want to be able to look back and say, I've done my part. I guess the big one for me is appreciating that people are different. That at times what you see is not what you get. So peeling the onion and getting to know Eddie deep inside is what really I've come to realize that at times, especially in our positions, people come at you don't just accept things at face value. And that for me is very important. The biggest loss of my life, I can't remember of any.
You sure?
The biggest loss, I'll say probably, I look at it in a different way. Being out, it's not my story. I was out for 4 years on a court case, which was vindicated after 4 years. So when I look back, some of the lessons in life, even the people who took us through that process, I've personally forgiven them. Yeah, so I'll say maybe that time, in terms of the 4 years, I was able to do my own other things, but it wasn't as quick as if I'd continued serving as a CEO. Yeah, I think as I say, number one, you now get to understand people um, because when you're serving as a CEO, as you've seen today, there are so many phone calls. The moment I stopped being a CEO of Kenya Pipeline today, those phone calls have dropped by 90%. And I've come to realize that at times when you're out there, you even find your closest friends could be that watchman or a painter. It moves away from being so basically you come to realize that you appreciate. And that's why for me my philosophy is appreciate this person. That's the biggest lesson I've come to learn. I'm ready because I've been there before.
Yes.
So it doesn't worry me.
Okay.
If I stop being a CEO of Kenya Pipeline today, I'll continue with my life.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll continue. That's why for me, most of the things we are doing today is to impact society. So I'll continue impacting society in whatever role, whatever position, either in or outside pipeline. because I believe I've created enough network. Have people believe in